What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back, FPL Fantasy. What a week! Some people that went for crazy punts like really paid off, like 120, 130 points. Not your guy here. Not my man over here, Doc. Unfortunately, but maybe this week for everyone. Before I get into talking about all of the topics and the upcoming game week for game week 10, my man Doc. Doc, want to introduce yourself?
Well, it's not a good game week for me. Whether it was on Champions League or FPL, I captained Salah. I thought it was a last minute decision. I thought there was a chance to chase points, like because the ranks were a bit getting stabilized and it was hard to jump big. And I thought, okay, Haaland has United, Salah has Brighton. We might as well go for it. Salah missed, I think, three big chances. I wouldn't call it unlucky. I knew the risk. It happened. And then my goalkeeper in Champions League Fantasy got sent off. When was the last time you had a goalkeeper getting sent off? Although I'm there in the top like 1K, so I'm doing very well, but it's not been a good fantasy week. So let's hope this week gets better.
Yeah. It's only up from here, it feels like. So, Doc, want to get into our topics for the upcoming game week? Okay, the first one that we have to talk about is Mitrovic. What do we do? Do we keep him? Do we sell him? Who do we get? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, we're yet to get any concrete news regarding his injury and how long he's out for. In my mind, if he's out for only one game week and I have the bench to cover him, I would probably do it. Uh, Not transfer him out, basically, just bench him and keep him in the team because he has Bournemouth in 11 as well. So it's a great fixture to have. So I wouldn't take him out. I have the bench to cover, and I'm gonna do a transfer with keeping him in. 2 weeks plus, I might consider taking him out, but there are not many options I can really be tempted by. Maybe Tony is probably the safe option to go for. Martial, Wilson, but those are kind of injury prone players, and you're kind of replacing a problem with a problem in the long term. So I would just keep him. If it's 1 week, I would transfer him out, maybe restructure, get a midfielder for that price. Otherwise, yeah, it's a tough one. This.
Yeah, I think that we do need more information, kind of like what you said. There's not a lot of information out there for us to really get an idea. Hey, is he out this week? Is he out 2 weeks? Is he out a month? What do we have going on there? That his ankle injury or foot injury that he got in the international game, that was actually something that pushed me off of him for my wild card. Actually, I saw that and I'm like, yeah, he might play through that, but that doesn't look good. He's not going to be playing at 100%. So I stayed away from him on my wild card. Turned out it was a pretty good choice that I made. I think, yeah, if he's out for 1 week, you can hang on to him. That's fine, especially people that have maybe some money invested. If he's out longer than that, I would I would probably make the jump to another dangerous forward, an injury-prone forward. Probably Martial is my top. I think he's playing really good ball, and he looks like he's really aggressive and really rear end to get back in and get points. He wants to chase Holland, so give him a chance. And the other one that I would say, aside from, Tony and Wilson, like you had mentioned, I would actually say Daka. I think he's been playing really well. Yes, he's not necessarily starting all games, but he did come on and get a goal, and I think he's 2 or 3 weeks in a row with a goal now. So I think he's a very aggressive, differential, but pretty likely to return type of pick, especially with the Leicester fixtures that they have coming up. So that's kind of where I sit with that idea. What do you think about those guys, Doc? Anything, or you want to slide to the next topic?
Well, I would probably restructure if he's out for much longer. We have a lot of options, nice options to have now in the midfield. We have Bowen, a whole last game week. Madison, a whole last game week. Zaha, Crystal Palace are on top of the fixture ticker. So you have so many options in midfield in that price point. So if he's out for much, much longer, I would say 3+ weeks. Yeah, he's definitely out, of course. And I would restructure and get a midfielder instead.
Yeah, you could fund that with selling Salah, Doc, I would assume.
Don't get me started.
All right, Doc, next topic going into game week 10. Players to target. What's your list? What does it look like? Let's give these copycats some good ideas.
Well, top of my list, and a player who I'm gonna bring in, spoiler for my team reveal, Zaha. Crystal Palace are top of the fixture ticker. They have Leeds at home, Leicester away, Wolves, Everton, Southampton, West Ham, Nottingham Forest, up to the World Cup. A sea of blue or green, whatever color ticker you use, absolutely great. The second option, I would look probably at Solanke. They are second on the fixture ticker. Leicester at home, Fulham away, Southampton in the next three. Decent fixtures. I would look at Man United assets if I really want to punt. Maybe Rashford. They have Everton away, but then a relatively tough fixture with Newcastle, Tottenham, Chelsea. So if you don't have Madison, you get Madison in. So those are the players that I have in mind. And if you notice, they are mostly in midfield. I would keep an eye on game week 12 blank just in case. I would be careful. Like, for example, if you bring in Bowen, are you happy to play him against Liverpool that game week? If you have three Arsenal and a City combination, I would keep an eye on game week 12. However, those are the ones I would really target. The midfield options are nice.
I think I'm kind of living in the same area that you are. I mean, looking at Leicester assets, they have a good run. Like I mentioned, Daka, I think he would be interesting and a fun pick to really bring in. Madison, if you don't have him. I would even maybe start considering, and now I know this is the risk in me. This is the risk in me. But I've done it for my wild card. Maybe consider some of those Leeds players because we're going to have Bamford coming back in. I brought in Rodrigo myself. Aronson, I mean, he's in there. He's still looking creative. He's still looking fun. Unfortunately, he's not getting the points. Yeah. I know. I hear it. Well, Rafinha did better. No, he didn't. It's the exact same output. All right, leave me alone. He's doing better now because he's on a different team. But
Well, he's living rent free when you keep mentioning him every single episode while he's not even in the league.
yeah, a little bit. But I just need to remind people that Rafinha was a bad pick overall. Okay, that's all. Then, like United, you can bring in Martial. City, pick from the handful of players that always return. If you don't have Holland in, come on, get him in already. Bowen, you had mentioned that Bowen has the Liverpool fixture in game week 12. Right now, I wouldn't be terrified of that because even if Liverpool are scoring, they're also letting people score. Should you be terrified? Probably not. Another interesting one is Everton. Everton, I could see bringing in a couple players there. You could bring in Maupay up top, but we have a lot of really nice forward options. If you wanted somebody a little bit cheaper in the back, you could bring in some of their defensive assets too. They're actually like not playing super bad defensively. I mean, yes, they're giving up goals, but they're like actually putting on a pretty decent show this year. So uh, that's a interesting area you could look into. Anything else? Yeah, Solanke is a good one. Always bring in all Spurs assets because that's my team. And Crystal Palace. I mean, Crystal Palace's defense, once again, got some great options in the back to pick. Unfortunately, I pulled in Anderson for my wild card, and he didn't play. I think I'm, spoilers, going to bench him this game week just because I don't want him to come on for a one-pointer for me. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of really great options out there and a lot of really great players that you can definitely target. And it's just a matter of looking forward and how comfortable you feel with that. Because, yeah, West Ham play Liverpool. But me personally, cool. Liverpool is a 3 for me. They're right in the middle. They're nothing fancy right now. But if they're playing like Man City, I don't know. Maybe I would stay away from that. Or Arsenal. Or I would say even the Spurs. Spurs had a bad outing this last game week, but the Spurs can definitely turn it on and crush teams too. So that's kind of where I'm looking for players to target. So, Doc, the big question everybody wants to know about captaincy. What do we think?
I'm not doing that mistake again. Captain Haaland and move on. It's been talked to death. Haaland can score against any team now. His minimum seems like it's 2 goals. So the question is he going to start score a hat trick or no? That's the only question basically. So I would play it safe from now on, unless we find kind of okay, maybe a Liverpool fixture or someone that you hope to gain points on, but the risk is too high. I will depend on my other 10 to get me the points. His effective ownership will be very close to 200% this game week. I'm very interested to see what's his effective ownership because even Salah as a second option is playing Arsenal away, so it's not even a tempting option for the people who have him. Maybe people who have Harry Kane might captain him versus Brighton, but still at home versus Southampton, that picture is just too good. So before pressing recording button, I told you let's just not discuss this topic because it's been talked to death now. But yeah, Haaland is the captaincy. I wouldn't consider anybody else this game week.
Yeah, I think captaincy is one of those things where if you get it wrong, it can definitely hurt you. Almost worse than a bad wild card. So just play it simple with the captaincy. Holland's getting points. He's guaranteed, 2 attacking returns at least a game. It feels like. Let's just play it simple and do that.
Yeah.
All right, Doc. Looking to go into our game week 10 teams. So, Doc, there you have it. Your team is on the screen. Do you want to talk about your team going into game week 10 here?
I'm probably gonna do the easiest transfer I've ever done in my life, unless press conferences changes things, which is Bailey to Zaha. As you see on the team, Bailey is in the starting lineup because I want to transfer him out. It became even easier 1 hour before recording this episode. We got the news that Bailey is injured, not ruled out, but he's possibly injured. Easiest transfer I'm gonna do in my life. So it's just Bailey to Zaha for free. I like the team. Let's get those points.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I think that seems like the most sensible transfer that you have in your team 100%. Guess moving on to my team. My team, I actually don't have any transfers lined up. Nothing that I'm looking at, which, I mean, makes sense. That's reasonable coming off of a wild card. You would at least want to look forward for 0 transfers for at least the week after. Pretty standard. I got right now I have Perisic on the bench as my 1, Solanke on the bench as my 2. Looking at those positions, who I am playing is Trippier, James, and Cancelo in defense. And up front, I have Tony and Holland. I struggle with having Tony in against Newcastle because Newcastle are pretty solid, I would say, this year. So, do I bring in Perisic and hope for possibly attacking returns? Or do I look at Solanke against Leicester and hope I get points there? Both of them kind of, really all 3 of them kind of seem like I could see any of them blanking. But I don't know. I don't know. Well, hopefully clarity comes during the deadline. What do you think, Doc?
Well, you have a benching headache. It's insane. But I would probably bench Rodrigo to start with. So basically, the midfield is Zaha, Madison, and Son. But that also means you bench Rashford, which is crazy. So I would probably bench Rodrigo, Anderson, and Tony. But it's a tight one. It's a crazy one. So I would start Rashford probably ahead of Tony due to the fixture mainly.
Yeah, yeah. I was struggling because I thought maybe I would bench my man Rodrigo.
When you were building your wildcard team in the last episode, I told you you're up for a benching headache with Rashford. So
Oh yeah,
yeah, I would wait maybe for Paul's tweet. If Paul tweets that Perisic is benched, that kind of makes up a decision for you, makes it easier. But I wouldn't also bench Perisic. The attacking returns possibility is very high now.
yeah, and that's the difficult part. 'Cause I'm like, oh man, Perisic, he could definitely pull off attacking returns at any point. I had Rodrigo in because I was thinking about Crystal Palace, and I'm like, they've done okay, but they are giving up more goals. And I've mentioned this in the past weeks. They're giving up more goals than we'd typically see from them in previous seasons. So I'm like, Rodrigo would be the guy to score. I mean, it's clearly not Sinistera coming out of the van parked outside of the stadium where he's watching the gameplay on. Little Moreno dig there. But yeah, yeah. I don't know. It feels right. It feels right for me.
Well, again, knowing you, you'll go against the grain, going against all the
Yeah.
suggestions, and I will see probably Son on the bench or something. No, he's your boy. You'll probably bench
Mm,
Zaha or something.
mm.
So, um, good luck. But yeah, I would go for a midfield of Rashford, Zaha, Madison, and Son, and have Tony, Anderson, and Rodrigo on the bench.
I'll consider it. Probably not do it, but I'll
You should.
consider it for you.
Probably not, yeah. I was just gonna say, you are the opposite of copycats on Twitter. Like, you see people doing something and you want to do the opposite. So, we need to. You're a probably copy dog and
Yeah, I mean, it's just it seems so much more fun to do this rather than to tune into Raptor and just copy his team for the next 29 more weeks. So yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with this plan right now.
probably, yeah.
All right, everybody. So little bit of a quicker video this week. Not really a ton to talk about. Not a lot of topics to really hit on. We went over captaincy. We went over what to do with Mitro. We went over, okay, what type of players should we target? Yes, we had a massive list of players to target, but, it gives you plenty of options to really go after somebody. And then we went and looked into our Game Week 10 teams, both me and Doc. So don't forget, like, subscribe, get at us on Twitter. We always reply to any comments that you put on the video. At least give you a heart to let you know that we saw and we appreciate the comment. Doc, is there anything you'd like to say?
Well, good luck, everybody, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Heck yeah. Let's get these points, everyone. See ya.